take you to the comic shop. I'll let you read about Cyclops. I'll have you spending all you got. Comics Gate is looking hot. Blacklist.
All right, we're back again. Left Hand Legit on your Twitter account, in the house, ready to talk about the biggest crossover in X-Men history in the early 1990s. That's right, we're up to part 2 of the X-CUTIONER'S song. This is X Factor number 84. We're gonna pop this bad boy open, and immediately you're going to notice that the artwork is very different than X-CUTIONER'S song part 1. X Factor was drawn by Jay Lee, and while I am normally a pretty big fan of Jay Lee's artwork, I feel that it kind of detracts from the crossover itself. All of the other artists, their work kind of dovetails together nicely, and this definitely stands apart from that. There's nothing you can really compare Jay Lee's artwork to. It's stands all on his own. Maybe the closest would be Sam Keith over here, but different. His characters are kind of, you know, where Sam Keith uses a rounded edge, it seems like Jay Lee would go for a straight line. That really, you can just see much more straight, not as rounded. So anyways, basically we have X-Force is looking for Cable because Cable has killed Professor X out of the blue. So they go to the last known whereabouts of Cable, and in the meantime, you know, here's Professor X. He's dying in the streets. This is not what you think it is there. That is got to be his foot. What in the hell am I actually looking at right there? Where are his legs? Yeah, okay, well, some Disney animated secret right there. You figure it out on your own, kids. So anyways, like, this comic is actually pretty boring. Everyone concerned over the professor's condition. Everyone concerned over how a concert for diversity could turn into chaos. As our good friend Quicksilver here says, but all Xavier had to do was show up at the concert for Brotherhood, and he was shot. I was there when Xavier and my father Magneto first butted heads over humanity. How nauseating to think Magneto's view seems borne out. Now come on, Pietro, you're not sane. Magneto is right. The very thought of Magneto repels me, Lorna, but... No but. It's not humans versus mutants. After all, there have been plenty of normies who have met with violence or death simply because of who they were or what they believed. And then this dude, who I don't even know, is just like token black dude named Prodigal. I don't recall him ever being in anything. Maybe I'm confused. Maybe I'm a big racist for pointing that out. I see, Miss Dane. Human brutality toward mutants is acceptable because it's equitable. Oh my God, here we go. Thank goodness Polaris stands up. You're twisting it, Prodigal. It's not acceptable. No, it's not. And how much more do we take until we start letting people know that we'll take no more? And then Guido shows up, and he's like 80 feet taller than this black chick that he's been hanging out with. And he's had his headset turned off all night. You know, it's like a pager. Back in the day, it's like having your cellular phone turned off. And Alex Havoc is pretty upset about it. Why didn't you respond, Guido? Blah, blah, blah. I had my phone turned off. What? Well, why'd you turn it off? It was at my request. I didn't want interruptions. Did I, Cupcake? Ah, I like that. And I love this little tiny panel right here. Oh, knowing glance. It's called a knowing glance. And then Wolfsbane is all pissed off and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to go fight. And then, you know, we have our buddy Archangel trying to figure out what's going on. But nothing's actually happening in the comic yet. And they go to try to find Cable, and look, here's Farrell, who looks just like Wolfsbane, but tan instead of burgundy. And there's Shatterstar. And they're looking, they're trying to figure out what happened at the, you know, where's Cable? Why can't we find Cable? And then, you know, Wolfsbane shows up and she's like, oh, my best friend Cannonball. Hey, Sam, how you doing? Oh, Boom Boom, you're looking great, baby. I missed you since the New Mutants. And he's like, ooh, kiss, kiss for Richter. How about that? Man. And oh, ow, you bit me. I'm sorry, Rick. I lost my head. You got me. Oh, I'm not doing the right accent, am I? Oh, I'm sorry, Rick. I lost my head. You got me too worked up. Rain, getting worked up? What's next? Mother Teresa working at a strip joint? That's a little risque humor. A little risque for kids, in my opinion. You're wasting time. I'll try to pick up Cable's scent so we can get out of here. And Guido's like, the only place you're getting, kids, is up against the ship. Come on, spread them. God, I hate Guido. I hate Guido. I hate Strong Guy. I hate his stupid friggin' glasses. Why is he wearing goggles? I don't know. Why does he have this little tuft of hair on the front of his head? I don't know. I hate his guts. And more talking. And then finally we get to a fight here on page 16. Shatterstar attacks and slashes. And, you know, all hell breaks out for 2 pages. And he, like, lifts his sword and he stabs it right into Guido's heart, finally. But then, oh, huh? It's not there. My sword. What happened to it? Looking for this? And Shatterstar, of course, how dare you? Strong Guy is right. You are quite fast. But let's see how you fare against someone for whom speed is not merely an attribute, but a lifestyle. And then, you know, of course, Wolfsbane and Feral are going to get into it because they're identical twins. And, of course, we're going to have another really crappy Bullseye with Tom DeFalco. God, I hate the Bullseye so much. And then, all of a sudden, Havoc and Polaris show up, and they're like, you got to surrender, you got to surrender. But, oh, no, we're not going to surrender. This is basically, like, a really crappy part 2. Meanwhile, in the operating theater, nurse, swab that area. I'm not getting a good look at it. Oh, dear God. What the blazes is that? Okay, hold that in your memory because you know this fight isn't going to last because they're all going to team up here in a minute. Oh, yeah, we're biting each other. Isn't it fun? So, oh, you get that UNICEF comic. You know, all you got to do is give $5 to UNICEF. You know, the real question is how much of that $5 is UNICEF going to give to starving children? That is the question. You go ahead and Google it and find out for yourself, kids. So basically, you know, like everybody's like, oh, break it up, blah, 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 blah. Your plan. So what was my backup plan? Okay, and if I'm backup plan, it was, Lex. Yeah? Mind if we come along to back up your backup plan? Me, Psylocke, Gambot, Rogue, and Beast? We got a little bit of experience in these kinds of scraps. Outstanding, Logan. You're here to help bring in X-Force? Most assuredly, Alex. Because your hypothesis would seem to have merit. If we nail X-Force, then we get Cable. Oh, good, including HBO and maybe the Disney Channel for Rain? Oh, wow, look at that. We got a reference to Disney. Huh, who'd have thunk? You fast forward 20 years and they own the joint. Elsewhere, here's our boy. Excellent, my horseman. You have brought Cyclops and Jean Grey to me. See, this is Jean Grey and Cyclops, and they're in these helmets. And I don't know why, if you recall in part 1, they were attacked in a bar while they were having an argument, like, you know, a longtime couple would. Now they are dressed in their uniforms. Doesn't make sense. Where did the uniforms come from? And it turns out it's not Apocalypse at all. It's Mr. Sinister. What? Meanwhile, at the hospital, everybody's like, what's that thing on Professor X's chest? And this dude's like, I can tell you. It's a technovirus. It transforms living tissue into a mechanical organism. How do we stop it? That's the problem, Val. We can't. Let's get him to the mansion. Will that help him? In a way. After all, a man should be allowed to die in his own home. Next issue, the action moves to Xavier's mansion. Check it out in X-Men number 14, the third part of X-CUTIONER'S song. So basically what we have here, we are going to get to those. I promise we will get to the masterpieces in due time, you know. Look for Halloween. Halloween, folks. X Factor Part 2. Basically, what do we need to know about X-Cutioner's Song Part 2? We need to know nothing but this. Professor X has a technovirus. That's basically, and Mr. Sinister is secretly in charge. What is this thing on his head here? What is that thing going on there? You guys see that? I don't know. Weird. Is there anything else we need to know about this comic other than that the Bullseye with Tom DeFalco still sucks balls? And Professor X has a rager? Nope, I think that's like all we need to know. Imagine that. Friggin' imagine that. A whole comic, spent $1.50 to find out that the X-Cutioner's song is just going to keep going, and very little of it actually from this mattered. So, there you go. I hope you liked it. We're going to be back to continue this epic 12-part crossover throughout all of the X titles. And this did indeed move the needle back in 1992. So, we will see you on the next totally awesome comic book review from Testosterone Overload!